Welcome, everyone, to Mental Health Monday. We are so happy that you are here with us today again. We look forward to this each and every week when we are going live with all of you. Please put in the chat where you are viewing from. And if this is your first time, please let us know because we want to say a very special welcome to you. And I know last week we had someone from Pakistan. Um, I think that was and maybe Canada, but it's always fun. It's always fun to see where you're viewing from. Dr. White, good to see you and to have you here and hosting with me as always. It's a blessing. Looking for,
Greetings.
yes,
Happy
good to
Manic Monday.
Yes, Manic Monday. My Monday was very full, and my Sunday was very full. So I literally was like, "Is this Tuesday or Monday?" Because I felt like Monday. I mean, I felt like Sunday was full,
Very
but
disorienting.
yeah, it was a manic Monday. But we're here now, and so I'm happy that the day is almost over. Almost over. Won't be complete until our Mental Health Monday is over. We're looking forward to the topic which is question and answer, but we expanded the question and answers. We are going to be answering mental health questions in general to the best of our ability, which the ones we are qualified for, right? Well, Dr. White's
Absolutely.
qualified for all of them.
Absolutely.
For the ones
Wow.
that I'm qualified for.
Wow.
But we're still taking relationship and marriage. If that's your question, we'll definitely take a stab at those again as well. Those are always a lot of fun. All right, California. Rob Green, good to see you here and you watch each week. Well, thank you. We are happy that you watch every week.
Rob, we're in
That
California.
yeah, where?
It's like that's like saying Texas.
I know, right? Because we know that's Dr. White's home base.
Oh
That
yeah.
is my state, and since I was born there, Dr. White,
Wow. I'm a
you've been
transplant.
planted there
I'm a
for many
transplant.
years now, but it's
Yeah.
still my state.
I'm gonna show some respect.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my state. So
Good
yes,
deal.
please just let us know where you're viewing from, and if you want to start putting in questions, you can do that as well.
Absolutely.
But we are
Absolutely.
just happy you are all here with us uh, this evening. Okay, Santa Cruz. Okay,
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful
yes, it
country up
is
there.
beautiful. We That's not far from where we moved from 4 years ago, so very close to the Bay proper. Santa Cruz, don't necessarily call it the Bay, but it's right above the
Right
Bay on the
nearby.
coast, and so that's a beautiful area. I grew up going to SoCal camp meetings, so I'm very familiar with all of the Santa Cruz spots. Let me tell you, the best vegetarian restaurant in Santa Cruz. It is called Dharma's, and I'm
Dharma.
sure Rob Green may know, but Dharma's is like it is a beast of a vegan restaurant. Like
Oh.
I can't even tell you. It's just great, great food, big portions. I miss it.
My daughter is a total foodie, so
Your daughter?
yes, she is.
She would love it. She would love
Yeah.
it. She would
That sounds
absolutely love it.
delicious. But is that like Indian? Does that sounds kind of East
No,
Indian?
it's called Dharma's, but it's vegan. Everything is vegan, and so
Okay.
it's they have all types of food there
Mm.
that's vegan. So they'll have vegan enchiladas. This barbecue burger that I always get is so amazing with like soy curls. It's like a sloppy Joe, but I can't even explain it. The salads are amazing. They make their vegan. You guys are gonna make me go on and on about this. These are not your questions. You're making me go on and on. The
Yeah,
biggest portions. But anyway, if you're in Santa Cruz, you should go to that restaurant. They should
absolutely.
pay me for that plug.
Seriously, like I feel like driving to Santa
Yeah, you
Cruz.
feel like driving. It would probably take you 8 hours, maybe nine, maybe more.
I thought it was. Isn't it closer than San Fran?
It is only like an hour closer.
So then it'd probably be about 5 hours. San Fran is like 6 hours from me.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was
Yeah.
further. No, it's further, Dr.
You
White.
think so? Hey.
I'm sorry because it would take you. I'm really from the Central Coast, right? So that San Luis Obispo area, that would take you 5 hours, and then it would take you 2.5, almost 3 more hours to get to San Francisco, depending on how you
Interesting.
drive.
Interesting.
Yes. I'm telling you, I'm the true Californian. I used to live in San Diego, drive all the way up to the Bay Area sometimes. I know that whole coast. And I know how long it takes. Okay, guys, I know you didn't come to hear about our vegan food and oh, okay. Okay, all right. So, okay, Rob, okay, you've seen us all. Okay, at Campbell. Okay, welcome. That was our church, and yes, Brother Terry was there, and me and Pastor. That's great. Well, it's good to see you here on Mental Health Monday. All right, guys, you can put your questions in.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob Green, your daughter is in Slow. She lives in Slow. That is where I mean, I've lived in San Luis Obispo and I was born in Santa Maria. So that's my real home. Wow.
Your
Blessings to
real
your
home
daughter
is where were you born?
in Santa Maria,
Santa Maria.
which is 30 minutes from San Luis Obispo. I know people are like, what are these names? Where are these towns? But
A lot of Santas.
a lot of Santas. A lot of Santas. California
Insane.
was Mexico. That's why.
There you go. There
Like,
you go.
that's why. But guys, we are taking your mental health questions, not just giving you a tour of California, but we are taking your questions.
So I think we got something from Enoch. Enoch
Okay.
made this question. He's like, um, I regularly listen to a sermon
Oh, let's see. Let's see if I
uh,
can put it up. Let's
by
see. Okay.
Benjamin.
Is that where he's saying,
Yeah.
okay, is
And
this where it's saying, is this true? High cities example of Israelites.
he
Is
wants
it
us to
this
be,
one about the Israelites? Is that the question you're about to that you want to answer? Because I can put it
it's
on the screen.
yeah, Enoch is coming and I regularly listen.
Oh,
So there's a four question. There's a question before that.
oh, there's a question
Um,
before that.
so it's a bigger, it's almost like looks almost like a mini paragraph. I regularly listen to a
Oh, got it.
sermon. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Yeah. I regularly listen to a sermon by Benjamin NG, SD
Right.
Malaysia, and he warns us to be careful what we wish for because God may give it to us, whether for good or worse. He cites examples from Bible. Okay. You want the first crack?
Um,
Oh no, I mean I'll take it.
no, I'll take it, even though it's not a mental health question. I'll take it. Um, so I don't think we have to be careful what we ask for because God is going to answer our prayers the way that he sees fit, even though if we don't know, even though if we don't know how to articulate them and what we're, or maybe the thing we're asking for, if the thing is what we're asking for is not good for us, he's not going to answer that prayer. He's going to answer it the way he wants to answer it. So I don't think we have to be afraid. We don't have, I'm curious to what those
The
examples
concept.
are
Yeah.
from the Bible because I can't think of one where somebody prayed something and then God was like, "Well, you prayed the wrong thing, so here you go," and you're gonna, that's real. I'm just
No,
saying. I'm sorry, Enoch. I don't. So you would have to maybe provide the example the pastor or speaker gave you, but even though this is not Bible Answers Live, but we
right.
are. We are Bible.
Yeah. We're students of scripture.
I attempt to be a Bible student, but
Exactly.
Dr. White's a Bible student, and I'm married to a Bible student for sure.
No question about it. Well, I think first and foremost, we'll remember the text, all things work together for good
Amen.
to those who are called, I guess, according to his purpose, something to that effect. And I'm sorry, I can't quote the exact location, but it's a pretty popular verse all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the notion of God being indiscriminate in granting our wishes, it's honestly, it sounds more reminiscent of an accusation against Lucifer than against God, to be honest, because it's more like from a Luciferian standpoint where he would give you whatever you want or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, God is okay. Let's put it like this, right? Who's a better parent, you or God? You know,
Right.
God is obviously the better parent.
Absolutely.
Um, if your child asks you for a pet viper, right? Would you be like, okay, you asked for it, here you go?
Right.
And we are mere mortal, but we would never do that to our child. Now the question is God, does God have more capacity for love than we do? Does God have can is it even reasonable for us to compare ourselves to God in terms of
Mhm.
love and empathy? So
Mhm.
obviously, then, if I ask for something and it's not truly good for me, he's not going to grant it. But here's what I would say: there are lessons we need to learn in our salvation journey. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And sometimes there are some things we may request where God may see fit to say, this is going to help you in your salvation journey. But I think we can rest assured that God means well for us. Um, and and I mean, yeah. So I'm not trying to clown the minister who's like, be careful. And the other piece that I wanted to add to that is, I think the danger is when our requests are totally focused on just what we want rather
Mhm.
than requesting something that is connected to the grander scheme or what you might even perceive as the grander scheme. I
Right.
think when we're requesting something that is just completely self centered, I think that's when we're more vulnerable to quote unquote ask for the wrong things.
Mhm.
And so that the warning I would take from the statement from that minister is, as best as possible, connect your ambitions to the grand scheme,
Mhm.
because that's going to protect you from making some of these requests that would throw you off. And the other
Mhm.
thing, so now how do you connect to the grand scheme? How do you even know what the grand scheme is? Now that underscores why we need to take the time to be as connected to God as possible so that we can be connected to his grand scheme.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Yes, I know someone just tuned in and said, I was wondering what the topic was. Well, the topic is we are taking your questions, but we're taking your questions about all mental health topics. We're not just talking about marriage and relationships and being single. We're taking those questions too. If that's the questions you have, but we are taking the questions about any mental health topic that you have, and we will do our very best to answer them.
All right.
Um,
So, and if we don't get any other questions, I'll ask you a question
yeah, go ahead
related
for
to
sure.
mental health. Okay. So it's a young couple,
It's a
and
young couple.
it's a young couple.
Okay.
You're in a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and you're on one of your date nights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe your husband gets up to, I don't know, run to the bathroom or something like that, and you know they look over to you and they're just like, I so admire your relationship. I so
Mm-hmm.
admire your relationship. Give us a tip. Give us a tip on how we can experience what you're experiencing 25 years in. What are your thoughts? What would you tell
Mm,
that young couple?
27 years in, but
27. And what
wow.
did I
But
say? Did I say 25?
you said 25,
Yeah, I'm
27.
telling on myself.
Yeah, you guys are 25.
Yeah, we're
um,
young bucks.
yes, let me think. Okay, a tip. What have I learned the most? There's so much, but of course, I mean, we talked about this last week. I mean, that's huge, and I had an opportunity to practice it this week, or late last week, I should say, because we talked about not going to sleep or not letting the sun set on our wrath.
Oh,
And I got
okay.
a chance to practice that. And I
That's
literally was
funny.
like, "Oh boy, I was just thinking about talking about this."
That's funny.
But seriously, that is a huge thing to be able to learn how, and that just takes me back to how to communicate. So, learning how to communicate with empathy and understanding, l- be, gathering enough maturity to be able to let my husband know, okay, we need to continue to talk about this, but right now we both can't emotionally talk about it. So let's take a break and then let's come back later and let's deal with it before we go to bed, before the day is completely over. Um that is what I definitely would say that that's probably one of the biggest things, because when you're able to take a mature time out and put yourself on timeout, um, and then come back and discuss it later, it saves you a lot of yelling or screaming or insulting and hurting each other's feelings and saying things that you're going to regret and all of that. Because if you don't take that time out to calm down and breathe, you're going to deeply offend each other.
That's profound. That's very profound. Now, let me ask you this question as a follow-up.
Okay.
What do you tend to do in the cooling off period? What do you tend to do to cool yourself down?
Yeah, that's a good question. Good follow up. So for me, I mean, the most of our viewers are Christians, and some may not be. But for me, I'm going to take some time just talking to God, and trying to figure some things out, and just let my heart rate go down so I can open up this part of my brain that's like wise and think and really talk to myself and be like, okay, just letting the Holy Spirit minister to me to calm me down and remind myself not to take everything so personal, try to see things from other sides. You know what I'm saying? It just takes, it's a whole bunch
100%.
of dialogue that's going on in my head to remind myself of my husband's personality. Now, this is me as a therapist and 25 years in. I mean, I surely didn't know this probably 10 years in, but just knowing my husband's personality type, mine. So considering that in the situation, how is that impacting what we're discussing and why we're so upset? So basically giving therapy to myself.
That's deep. No, I
Yeah.
think a powerful thing you said was you go from talking to your husband to talking to God. I think
Yeah.
that's just amazing. I mean, because there's so many people who they pick up the phone and they start talking to someone that's not necessarily a good influence.
Yeah. I'm not
Or
calling anybody.
well, calling somebody or watching something that's not helpful, or sometimes just like stewing in your own thoughts to make it even worse. So I think that was great. Okay. Well,
Right.
that was just to keep ourselves busy while you guys got your
Yes.
questions
Yes.
going.
And if we don't stay busy, I'm going to ask you some questions too.
Hey,
All
I'm
right. We
down.
have, how do the pressures of life affect our mental health? Great question. And why some people seem to deal with the pressure better than others. I'm going to let
Ooh,
you go.
absolutely.
Kind of goes with your book a little bit.
Exactly. Well,
Hmm.
Deborah, um, so what's interesting is a lot of people don't know that when we talk about stress, there are actually two forms of stress. One form of stress is distress, and that's the stress we're often thinking of. And but most of the time you hear a person talk about stress, they're talking about distress. There's another form of stress. It's called eustress. Eustress is actually good stress. Well, what on earth is the difference? What would be the difference between distress versus eustress? Distress is what you experience when the pressure and the demand actually overwhelms your resources. When your resources are overwhelmed, when someone's asking you to do something and you're exhausted, whether it's financial or your energy or what have you, well then in those situations, then you actually will feel distress. But there's another thing where a person is placing demands on you, but you have more than enough resources to deal with it. That's eustress. Well, you're so now let's see. You just said, well, oh well, she you moved the question. So let me see. So then you said, and why do some people seem to deal with life's pressures better than others? Well, because they, whether conscious or subconscious, have figured out how to shift it over to eustress. They know how to set the boundaries. They know how to deploy their emotional intelligence to shift things over to where they can actually manage it. Sometimes it's setting boundaries. Sometimes they're like, no, that's not going to happen. Whether the no is beautiful or ugly, but it's issued as a no. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. So that's not happening. And so what they're doing is they are employing the boundaries to keep their life in the eustress zone where they can deliver at their best. So,
Mm,
what does stress do to you, especially the distress part? It'll shoot up things like cortisol, for example.
mhm,
And the body can really handle cortisol, but when it pulses, when it's pulsatile, right? So when you have acute stress, right? You're scared of something, you run, you hide, whatever, you fight, flight, whatever. It can accommodate pulsatile cortisol. But when cortisol is chronically elevated in the body, that's when it impacts the body negatively. That's
mhm,
when it's neuronally toxic. That's when it's not as good for you. So I could go with a bunch of examples, but I think you get the point. So it's
mhm,
eustress versus distress,
mhm.
and having the emotional intelligence to know how to keep things in the eustress zone.
Yes. All right. Great question. Great answer. Thank you for that question and answer. All
Thank
right.
you.
I just got out of a 13-year relationship with a narcissist. He was abusive and turned my mother against me,
Ooh,
who also I suspect is a narcissist. She deleted me from Facebook and Messenger. First, I want to, I think it's Michelle Walker. I am so sorry for your experience. It's,
hmm,
I don't, again, know if that official diagnosis is what he had or even what your mother has, but it's still the actions are still, it's very disheartening to have, and your mom, turn what you feel like was turned against you. I don't know if this is a question. It's really just a situation. And so I really am sorry. And I'm sorry you went through that and experienced that. Um, I would definitely, to being in a relationship, whether that was, even if he's not a narcissist, but it was just emotionally abusive, or if it was just, to be in it for that long, definitely think seeing a therapist in your local area would be definitely not a bad idea, because 13 years is a long time.
well
And
said.
definitely want to encourage you to do that, and to hopefully the relationship with your mom can be um, even some family counseling if your mother would be open to that. I don't know the situation, but that would be my encouragement for your situation that you are in. But I'm sorry that you're going through that, because that's not easy.
At all. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I think you answered that pretty thoroughly.
Okay, let's see. um, all right. Okay, here's another question. All right. Thank you to me. Well, thank you. You're welcome. What is the best way to love to deal with a nosy older neighbor that has no boundaries and shows up and knocks on my door whenever to ask to help with things?
Wow.
Hmm. Dr. White.
There we have it. Okay. Well, thank you so. Oh, Denise, my
Okay,
friend.
that's Denise. Oh, that's
Oh,
both of
that's
our
awesome.
friend. Hi, Denise.
Exactly. Denise. Denise is a communication expert, so
She is. She is.
yeah. So let's see. Best way in love to deal with a nosy older neighbor that has no boundaries and shows. Okay. Well, I think in this kind of situation, Denise, you would pause for a second and think in terms of how you want to experience this relationship. We all have had our lives impacted positively by folk who are older than us at some point. We've all had the sweet little old ladies that were kind and had nice words for you when other people didn't have them. So I think deep down, we all want to be kind, generous, and just demonstrate some reciprocity. I think we all pretty much do that. But Denise is saying, well, there are limits. I can already hear you talking, Denise. Um, there are limits,
I could
right?
hear her too.
So The idea now being is, I think in your mind, you have to get a picture of what you want the relationship to look like.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first step is just identifying what you want it to look like, because then the next step will be, okay, what will you communicate to that person? At which point, in my thinking, when they came over, you would be prepared to, okay, well, we're gonna have a conversation since you're coming over. I gather this might not be a person to invite for a cup of tea, but it might be, hey, have a seat outside here. You might have some two chairs set up or whatever, and you just have a conversation with the person. Um, yeah, hello, tell me about yourself, and you have a conversation. Get to know them, see how they're feeling, where they're at with things. Because sometimes people they're at the edge of
Mm-hmm.
their well-being. They're at the edge, and sometimes these might be gentle ways of crying for help. So that's why I think finding out who they are and what it is that you're dealing with is so important, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you've done your preliminary assessment, find out who they are, what they're about, why they see you as their supposed solution. Then you can let them know, hey, this is how I envision this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
These are the boundaries. This is when it's okay for you to knock. These are the things that I can provide support for. And for those other things, I would recommend you go somewhere else. Um, but yeah, you now have a setting where you can frame how you want things to unfold.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't give you specific advice to the situation because I don't know the
Right.
situation. I don't know if the person's dangerous, and I don't know those details. But I just want to say those are some of the general principles: is assess well, get clear on what you want, get clear
Mm-hmm.
on what you need, what you want, and then you can start strategizing on how you want to communicate it. And then you have the conversation with the person, understand where they're coming from, and then you know how to then fit your demands into that situation. This is what I would be
Mm-hmm.
doing.
I
I hope that was helpful
re-
to me.
yeah, I think that was very good. She said, oh, because she said she did that, even invited to dinner and did that and had the boundary talk. So I guess it sounds like she had the boundary talk and they're still not listening or not honoring your boundaries.
So it sounds like that didn't work.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I got, I
That
want
she
to
went
ask.
further than I did. Like she's like, I took her out to dinner. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And you had the
Mm,
boundary. Well, and of course, the boundary talk is not complete without boundary and consequences.
true.
so,
That's
so if
true.
you do X,
That
then I'll have to do
absolutely.
Y.
Absolutely.
And then there's actually in enforcing. And again, we're not advocating for anything crazy like violence or anything like that.
Oh,
But just look, these are
Denise
the
wouldn't do that.
yeah. All right. Well, there are other
She
people
wouldn't.
listening to her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now you have
Yeah.
Jasla.
Is there a way to develop empathy? Hurt someone greatly, but for some reason, I don't feel much remorse at all. Are some people incapable of changing how they feel about empathy? Ah,
Well, we
well,
need, it'd be nice to know a little bit more details in terms of what you meant by hurting someone. You know,
yeah, but I maybe yeah, maybe give a little bit more detail, but in general, um you know, I say praise the Lord that our brains are neuroplastic. So I mean they were there to change, neuroplasticity, they're to change, right? It's not just in a stiff hard thing that cannot, we're really not hard-headed, not really. um Maybe we do some things that we shouldn't do that makes us our behaviors hard-headed, but no, we can learn how to become more empathetic. And again, I'm be honest, I'm going to put this in the Christian realm because if if you're not a Christian to learn and you naturally don't have a lot of empathy, I think it's pretty difficult to it's not impossible, but it is more challenging, I believe, to learn how to be truly empathetic. Because you when you become a Christian, you ask God to give you his love and view people the way he views them. Well, you're going to be dripping of empathy once you experience something like that. And so I think that, but let's just say you're not a Christian and you're wanting to learn how to become more empathetic. You definitely have to um, work on some of your issues that are holding you back. So a lot of times there could be unresolved hurt and pain and trauma that you have not healed from, and that's why you just really don't have a very empathetic heart towards others. Um, you hold your emotions back because you're afraid of getting hurt again. I mean, there could be so many reasons, but if you go through a healing process, you will not, after the healing process, and it's a journey, but once that gets better, your walls to protect your heart, those are going to start to come down, and you can start caring for others, and wanting to assist others, and just having a more loving spirit towards others. So again, starting off with the first statement, our minds are not impossible to change, and new behaviors, we can learn new behaviors. So if you're not born, or you don't, as an adult, you just don't feel like you're very empathetic, we can change. You can change. As humans, our minds can change.
I love that. I love that. There are literally like parts of the brain that are associated with empathy. And so, in the event that sometimes maybe you had injury to that part of your brain or something like that, yeah, there
Mm-hmm.
are scenarios where you could have a difficult, you could have difficulty conjuring empathy. There's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fortunately, it's rare.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about neuroplasticity. I think once you know the brain is neuroplastic, then you know that we're capable of change. And the only thing hard about our heads is the cranium.
Yeah.
But actually the gray matter, the white matter, that's actually very soft. It's very
Very
pliable
soft.
to transformation. So not saying it's easy, but
Right.
yeah, there's hope.
Yes, yes. All right. We have another question. Any ideas on finding purpose? I've done marriage, kids, and don't value things um as house, cars, etc. for motivation, as most people use to motivate.
Rob, are you Christian? Just curious. Because
I
that
think, yeah, if
concept.
it's Rob Green and he said that's the one that said he saw us at Campbell Church, I would say so. I think he is a
Okay.
Christian.
Well, let me know if you identify as Christian, Rob. All right, you gonna take the first stab?
I was gonna let you, since I
Okay.
took the first stab at the last one.
Okay, no problem. So at the Mastermind Institute, we have a branded approach to purpose. And we talk about there being three dimensions to purpose. It's almost like those three dimensions form a triangle, and your purpose lives within it. The first
Mm,
dimension of purpose is the defining moments from your path. Okay, that first dimension is your path. And if we were to sit down, Rob, I'm pretty sure there are these moments in your life, these things that occurred that actually define you
mm,
and shape who it is that you are today. So that first dimension is your path. So in other words, it's worth taking some times at times to think, what are some of the key
mm,
issues that have impacted my life that help define who I am? The next dimension of purpose is talent. We all have a talent. We all have something that we have a natural aptitude in. Um, well, we have a responsibility to distill that talent into skill. And that is the
mhm,
second dimension of your purpose. Because you can see, um, I am paraphrasing, but King Solomon, he says, a man or woman skilled in his craft will serve kings. I'm paraphrasing that brutally, unfortunately. But in other words, it opens doors. It opens
mhm,
doors for you to get skilled, but that contributes to your purpose. And then the third dimension to your purpose is the calling, it is impact. So, in a secular sense, we talk about impact. In a Christian religious context, it's a calling to be godlike.
mm,
So Rob, we are entrusted with situations to show what God would look like in that situation.
Yeah.
And so now when you line up those 3 dimensions, you're gonna see your purpose kinda lives in that. So now you see why your purpose is so unique for everyone. Everyone has
Mm,
different defining moments, different talents, different skills, and called to make a different impact. But those
mm.
3 dimensions help you identify what your purpose is. Let me know if that was helpful, Rob.
All right. Yes, and he said, Rob said, yes, he is a Christian. So I'm sure that was, and yeah, he said amen. So that was helpful.
Okay, beautiful.
That was helpful. Okay, well, guys, we are taking your questions on any mental health topic and relationship, mental health topic that you want to ask a psychiatrist and a licensed marriage and family therapist. This is your time. We have time for more questions. Want you guys to know that this is our last Mental Health Monday for the year. We will be back in January, but this is the last one for 2025. So definitely take this opportunity to ask us questions. We definitely want to answer your questions. While we are waiting for more questions, Dr. White,
Yes, ma'am.
since you're always asking me questions, goodness, what do you find what do you find most challenging about being a psychiatrist?
Oh man, that's easy. Um, it's interesting the infrastructure that is supposed to support you, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean it's like simple things like insurance and
Mm,
like insurance saying, "Hey, we're not going to pay for that patient," or hurry up. We're not sure there's still a clinical indication for this, or
even though
some
you're providing them notes and documentation that you're needing, like, so
you
they
got to
know
do that.
better than you.
You
Okay.
gotta do that. You gotta do that.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, and so or just denying. Like, can you imagine you eat a burger and like imagine you own a burger shop and you feed the patron, they paid for it, um, and then subsequently they're like, I need my money back because I wasn't really that hungry.
Mm,
But like imagine that attitude. Or a
yeah.
middleman jumping, hey, you don't have to worry about payment. I'll negotiate payment. And they're like, well, since I have a million, patrons, we're gonna decide if you get paid or not. And I just don't think the person was that hungry. I don't think the burger was that good.
Mm,
Yeah, you're not gonna get paid. And you're supposed to run a business on that. That's
mm.
unpleasant. I would say
Yeah,
that's
I that
that's
is it's
unpleasant.
very unpleasant, and that's I get the world of business here in America. I believe what the Bible says: the love of money is the root of all evil. Meaning, I feel like they're interfering with someone's care, possibly because they don't want to continue to pay out, even though people pay into insurance
Yeah.
each and every month, and when they need it, they should be able to get the most out of it.
Or
But
imagine everyone comes into the restaurant, they order their burgers, and they all leave. And 30 days later, you might get payment from, I don't
yeah,
know,
that's frustrating.
80%. 30 days later, like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you just anyway, those are some of the headaches that you're just like, okay, patients not appreciating the care. That's unpleasant as well, you know.
Yeah.
Um when yeah there is a real issue of violence against healthcare workers.
Mm.
I mean, like, people wouldn't even think about it, but like, here are these people, you've given your life to service,
Mhm.
and things will escalate at times to where there's violence, and it's like those are the things that just they take the fun out of it, I would say.
Yes. Yes. Don't
Name
let
a
my
few.
husband hear you say that because he'll be like, "You're not going." Meaning, like, meaning if he thinks that there's if I could possibly be in danger. I've never had anything like that. I'm wondering if it's because of the how you practice medicine or practice medicine the way yours is set up, that you run into that. Because I've never run into that. I've definitely been cussed out,
You've
but
been well,
I've been
like
cussed out. I've definitely
so
had some
so
F bombs once or twice in the last 8 years, but
right. So that's just a preamble. That's just the
yeah.
preamble of where things can go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're dealing with we're dealing with people who are demonstrating substance-induced psychosis.
Right. Exactly.
They're on 72-hour holds. So the whole
Yeah.
hold concept is you're a danger to yourself, you're a danger to others, or
Right.
you can't take care of yourself right now.
So you need to
Um,
be where
so
they are.
folk don't take
Mm-hmm.
too kindly to that. So but yeah, we deal with some pretty high stakes, high
Yeah.
pressure situations. But
Well, at least you
yeah.
live in a state that does that. I I was
Well, in
shocked when I
Alabama, there's no hold laws in Alabama?
you have to go in front of a judge and say why you believe that this should happen. By the time you do all of that, the person could hurt themselves, hurt somebody else. It is I know this is on YouTube, but I don't care. This is just the most insane thing that I have ever seen. I was shocked when I came. I was like, what do you mean? There's not a 5150 like it has to be, and it has to be voluntary. They have to voluntarily do that, or you have to go before a judge. And it's all because, that's their constitutional rights. You're stepping on them. And really.
Because people don't exactly cooperate with this process, mind you, so you can
I
imagine.
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, like, what's interesting about it is you'll literally have a patient who'll say that, "So, are you having any thoughts of harming yourself?" And they'll be like, "Yes." You're like, "Okay. All right, now I wanna go."
And you're like, well,
Or
wait a minute.
or
Right.
they'll talk about, like, harming someone else. "Yeah, Imma go
Yeah.
and kill that person." I'm like, "Hold on. Like,
And you
are
have to
you"
take the time and go before a judge. Who knows how? I mean, that
and they're like,
even if it took a day, it would be a day too long,
well,
or
does it
some
mean at
hours too
least
long.
the police force is a little bit more responsive, or can you even get the police involved?
You can, but they're just gonna, and they will take them to, if they get involved. They would just take them to one of the local hospitals, but they can voluntarily leave the hospital once they get there.
Sis, man, that's
I don't want to get too political on here because it's not about that, but we can have a
well,
topic off
mental
here.
health, but oh my, but anyway,
Yeah,
those are
it
like
really,
all the
yes, we have
questions.
questions. Here we go, guys. How do you protect your heart from a family member who is holding on to, I'm gonna get you a little bug thing for Christmas because
Oh
that's the
my
second time.
goodness. It's
I'm
like
sorry,
they're
it's a
all
question.
over me today.
I
Oh,
see that. Okay. How do you protect your heart from a family member who is holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness? My brother and I were so close. This almost killed me last year. Mentally exhausted. Oh, I'm
mm.
so sorry. I can't see the name, but to the person who asked the question.
Says Madi
Yeah.
Exon.
Okay. Is it okay? Amani
Mhm.
is the name.
Well, Madi Exon,
Oh, Mani.
Modi
Okay.
Exon,
Okay. Well,
Madi Exon.
Monty, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is very difficult when you're at odds with someone you love, um, and they're just not letting it go. There's really okay. The first question, she said, "How do you protect your heart from the family member?" I mean, that's like setting down boundaries. I mean, I don't know. Like Dr. White said earlier, we really don't have enough information on how. We know he's holding on to anger and resentment, but I'm in bitterness, but I don't know how that's showing up. Like, is it? We just don't know if it's just emotional abuse to you or just being very cold and mean when they're in your presence. I don't know, but
Oh,
you
Monique.
definitely you can't do anything about him as far as changing him. Again, if you're a Christian, of course, the number one thing that you are to do is pray for him and yourself. But then also, if it's so hurtful and harmful to you, and of course you're trying to protect your heart, is there needs to be a healthy boundary of distance. Um, People, even family, is not allowed to abuse you. You can lose the family card, if you will. That doesn't give you the right to treat people mean or be, also hold on to resentment, but you can protect yourself from a hurtful situation. And you can love somebody from a distance if they are, oh, Monique. Okay, Monique, this is your question. Um, if they're harming you emotionally, again, if you're in their presence or just, of course, physically not being kind or verbally or whatever the case may be. However, you need to protect yourself, you need to protect yourself. And it sounds like some distance is the best. And in that, you could still be loving a person from afar, but just not putting yourself in a situation to be harmed emotionally or physically.
Uh, so, and Monique, what I would, and I apologize for being distracted by the fly, but Monique, one thing I would offer is when seeking reconciliation, it can be helpful to take some time to identify, is there anything I can take responsibility for? Okay. Is there any of this that I can own? Is there, is my side of the street completely clean? Those are some things. And then when you're able to identify, okay, well, this is what I can take responsibility for, sometimes that can make room for some dialogue. And you can imagine, if there's nothing you can take responsibility for, that means it's going to be pretty hard to strike up any conversation, because when people are in conflict, there are things people often have time to hear. There are things people often have time to hear. Things like, here's where you're right, or here's where I'm wrong. People always have time to be like, I got time to hear that. And what people, on the other hand, don't have time to hear is how you're perfectly right and they're perfectly wrong. Like, people, those are not conversations that tend to open up dialogue. And that's not to say that you are in any way wrong in this, I because we don't know the scenario. But I
Mhm.
also love, Sister Tante, that you mentioned people can lose the family card. You know,
Mhm.
I think there are people who, when they don't think they can lose that card, they don't own the reality that you're responsible to be familial. If you
Mhm.
want to say that we are family, then that means you need to be familial. That
Yes.
means there's a certain level of respect you should show since we're family. There's a certain
Mhm.
level of love you should show since we're family. There's loyalty, there's all these values, but you can't just say we're family, but then act unfamiliar.
Amen.
That doesn't go. No,
Absolutely.
you can cash in that card. You can act, and that's where you see the proverb saying, "There's a friend that sticks closer to a brother." Um,
Mhm.
there's a friend that is more familial than a brother. So that's a powerful
Mhm.
statement that you said. Oh, and then the other
Great.
thing is, do your work. Like, this is hurtful and this is traumatic. So get yourself some support. Find some therapeutic settings where you get to explain what this means to you. You can get it
Mhm.
out there. You can talk about it so that you can then identify the behaviors that will heal you,
Mhm.
because obviously this sounds hurtful. So you need to identify the behaviors that are going to heal you. You need to identify the boundaries you get to set to protect yourself, as you said.
Mhm.
And part of that reflection, hopefully, you'd be like, hey, what can I take responsibility for? How did I contribute to this? Um, or not. Anyway, hope that was
Yeah,
helpful, Monique.
that was perfect. And hopefully that was helpful to you. I thought those were great answers. This is going to be, well, we have time for one more after this one if you want to put it in the chat. So hurry up, and you have a few minutes to put it in the chat. But this next question is, how should you deal with someone who complains about the same thing over and over for years and then gets offended when you share your opinion? All right. So, how do you deal with someone who complains over the same thing? So they just never are getting over anything and gets offended. You know what? I would probably stop sharing my opinion because it's just like a cycle at this point. Um, and I don't know the situation. I mean, specifically, but if they keep complaining and you keep sharing your opinion, and then they get upset with you, it's kind of pointless. And it just sounds like, you know, some individual counseling, possibly depending on what they're complaining about, some family counseling. I mean, there's a reason why they do have that spirit of complaining and just never being satisfied and never being able to see things through somebody else's lens. I mean, there's a lot there. So there's a reason why they're doing that, but I think you're probably just going to frustrate yourself if you keep answering. I would just be like, smile at them and be like, okay, well, I'll pray about that for you. Or I don't know, something where you're not actually giving an opinion because it's kind of pointless. Sounds like it's pointless. What are your thoughts, Dr. White?
First of all, yeah. Well, since we only have you, that's why we always want to check and see, hey, am I doing everything I can?
Mm,
And sometimes when a person is saying something over and over and over again, sometimes they're wanting to be heard a certain way that perhaps they're not experiencing.
mm,
And so that's
mm,
why they keep coming at it again and again and again. And sometimes let's say they were traumatized or something like that. I know it might not be that, but let's just say that it is. There are people who they've been traumatized, and you're feeling like, hey, can we get over that now? Can we move on? And they're not thinking that they want to get over it. So when people get the experience that they've been heard the way they want to be heard, uninterrupted, you were present, you were asking them questions, and I know, Shan, you're probably like, dude, I did all that. So this might be for the benefit of the listening audience. Um, but when they are heard the way they want to be heard, that sometimes is what will have them say, okay, I feel at peace. And as a person who listens to people professionally, when people feel heard, and Sister Tanta, you tell me if you've experienced this. When people feel heard, tell me if you've seen this before.
mm-hmm.
Whether it's they cry, whether it's, but they'll be like,
Oh, yeah.
you'll see them take that breath of like sad, like, I got it
Mm-hmm.
out. Like, I call it an emotional bowel movement. Like they just
Yeah.
and so that's what good listening
Mm-hmm.
facilitates. Good
Mm-hmm.
listening facilitates an emotional movement.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
a lot of times we're leaving people emotionally constipated. Okay? Like we're interrupting their process.
Oh, most.
We're asking
Mm-hmm.
the wrong questions. We might,
Mm-hmm.
talk over them. And sometimes our body language communicates again.
Yeah.
You're saying this again.
Right.
And it can feel pretty crushing when you don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're being heard the way you want to be heard. Again, I'm not trying to say that you're not doing a great job listening and all that, but I just mean, since you asked the question, that would be my feedback.
Yes, and you said you asked if I've ever experienced that. I experienced that with clients the most, using the tool that I talked about earlier, or I've done on other programs, with empathy and understanding. Because when you're listening with empathy and understanding, you can't the tools, or you can't interrupt. You're not preparing your defense. You're really listening, like your ear. I tell the clients, imagine your ear to your spouse's or this person's heart, like you're trying to
Ooh,
hear their pain and all of these things. And so when I'm telling you, a lot of times when the couples do this, you know who just breaks down crying because they have an emotional movement, if you will, um, are the husbands, because they, for so long, they just have never really felt heard and they just break down when their spouse, and it goes on both sides, but I do see it a lot with husbands when their wife is just listening to their pain and they're understanding where they're coming from and they feel heard, and then they just let out the emotional side with the cries, but they're happy, they're satisfied cries of, I'm so happy you finally understand how I feel.
And I think the funny thing is like people like kind of run over with tissue and all this kind of stuff. Like, look, man, nobody ever died from letting the tears flow or like
Right.
whatever, a little
Let the
snot. But
tears
like,
flow.
but this process is so sacred. Don't
Hmm.
interrupt it. Just let the person be, you know.
Yes,
And
most
it's
definitely.
not uncaring, but it's I'm way more interested in you divulging what you need to divulge and you getting
Hmm.
it out than telling you, I need you to sanitize yourself for my benefit. No, it's
Absolutely.
I'm focused on you having the moment you need to have.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, all of our guest and viewing audience, not really guests, guys, your viewing audience, our Mental Health Monday family. This was our final episode for 2025. We will be back in January of 2026. I don't have that date yet. We'll see. We have our third grandbaby that's coming on
Oh wow.
January. Did I not tell you that? January 12th.
I don't think so.
I said she. I don't know if it's a she or a he. We're all going to be surprised. So when the baby comes, so
Guys,
that's
we see y'all in February, okay? We already know.
you never know. Well, we'll
Yeah,
see.
right, right.
No, I can't. I can't be in Austin forever. We have to come home.
I got
But
you.
even from Austin, we could do some broadcasts. So
No worries.
we will let you know when in January, but we will be back in 2026 at the beginning
Absolutely.
of
Absolutely.
2026.
Absolutely.
So definitely. We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and just a time to enjoy family, and just reconnect to the ones that you love, and hopefully just get some downtime. The holidays are great for that. Even if you don't, for some reason, if you don't celebrate Christmas the way everybody does traditionally, it's just a great time to spend with the ones that you love.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And
Yes,
definitely remember the reason for the season.
yes,
Okay.
most
Um,
definitely. Okay, well, have a good evening, and we'll see you next year.
Happy holidays to you as well, sis.
Yes, you
Take
too.
care. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.